Hello everyone, it's GigaBeef here, and today we're checking out 6 of my favourite efficiency tips for patch 13.5, starting with presets, which I think everybody is using wrong. The way that Tarkov works means that trying to use a loadout preset for a full kit isn't actually very useful, because we're swapping guns, armour and maps all the time that affects the keys you take in your secure container. But it is amazing if you use it properly. So, tip number 1 is packing mags using the preset systems. This is something that BSG have said is coming in the future, but we can actually do this now. So let's say that I'm going to be taking an AK-101. This is an AK-101 magazine, and we have 3 of them. Usually, if you're going to pack mags in this particular setup, I've got M855A1, which is the best ammo that I have available, and M856A1, which is the second best. And what I usually like to do is I'll take a stack of both of these, I'll split 56A1 into 20, 20, and then 20. And I'll keep some for my secure container, and then what I'll do is I'll put 20 in each, and then I'll put 55A1 in there, 55A1 in there, and 55A1 in there, and that's it. So then we've got 10 55A1s at the top, and we've got 20 56A1s at the bottom, and then I'll keep these for my secure. I have to do this every single time I come to make a 101, and it's a little bit irritating, but we can actually save this as a preset. Now, what I suggest you do is get a really cheap rig. I'm just going to use the bank robber for the time being. Empty everything else out of your loadout, and what you're going to want to do is bring these magazines across into the bank robber once you've done this a single time. So let's move them across here. Now, what you want to do is you want to save this. So you save this preset and call it whatever. I actually have this preset saved already. So you go into my list of equipment, I've got this. So I've called it M, so that all the ones that are magazine related are going to be starting with an M, so that when they're in alphabetical order, it'll look better in the list. And I've got AK-101, 20 56A1, 10 55A1. So once I've done all this and saved it, I can, let's see, if we just empty all of these out, so we make sure that we've got nothing in any of these, empty all those, empty these, and put this in here. Once I'm coming back from a raid or whatever, I can do list of equipment kits, magazine kit, equip, and there you go. Now we've got 10 55A1 and 20 56A1 in each magazine. You could do this any which way you want. If you want to do 1 round of 56A1, 1 round of 55A1, and do that alternate, you know, one there, put another one in, you can do this, and you can save this as a preset. So say this is more relevant with leg matters. Say you want to do rip rounds versus Luger or something for 9mm. You can then alternate those one by one by one by one by one. You only have to do it once. Yes, it takes a while, but once you've done it that one time, you can save it as one of these presets. You have a cheap rig and you can pack, I don't know, 3 magazines or however many you normally take into a raid, and that's it. You never have to do that mag packing again. Really, really cool. This now brings us on to point number 2, which is kind of similar, but a little bit different. So the same philosophy regarding docs cases and keys works for this as well. So say I've got my custom set of keys here. These customs keys are all safe keys in dorms. We've got the ones for 2-story and the ones for 3-story and the factory exit key, just in case we want to get through into the special extract or through the door in the middle of the map. Let's just say that we've got all of our keys set up like this. Now, people try to use the presets for customs, say, with their keys set like this, but I think it makes it too complicated, because you've got your docs case intrinsically linked in with the kit that you're taking to a particular map. So what we're going to do instead, exactly the same way as we did before, we just put the docs case in here on its own with nothing else. We save a preset, and I've already got a preset for this saved. Then we just extract all of these keys, so I'll show you exactly how this works. So we've just got them in a big mess all around the stash. Go list of equipment kits, we've got docs case customs. The only thing in here, if you go to pouches, the only thing in here is the docs case, and open it up. Here's the keys that we've got, and we just go equip, and there it is. The docs case is here with all of our keys inside. This also means that once you have a docs case or a SICK case, once you've upgraded, you only ever need one. You don't ever need another docs case or a SICK case, because you can make a preset for each map for your set of keys that you particularly want, and this means that you don't have to change every single loadout every time you want to change a key. You just change the loadout for that map or the custom set that you want to take, which is really, really good. So that's the way that we do with the docs case. So we've got our magazines set, we've also got our docs cases set. And this brings us on to point number 3, which is that using the presets in a modular way is way, way, way better than trying to use the presets as a whole block. You want to be able to piece different parts together, because that's how we build Tarkov loadouts. So let's go and look at the third kit that I've actually built, which is my default start kit. This is a headset, a balaclava, and it is useful if all of this stuff comes from the traders, but typically I'm changing my body armor around and I'm changing my weapons around all the time. So I've got in here headset, balaclava, and the Red Rebel, which I'm just taking to every map because you may as well. You can just not have that if you want the ability to pick up a melee yourself. Sometimes I like to be able to smash glass, which is why I quite like to keep it, but I might just get rid of it afterwards. It only takes 1 second. It's up to you. And then in the pouches, I've got a car, first aid kit, a Tarzan up here, which is the rig that I normally use. We've got 2 cats, an adrenaline, and then we've got the secure container with ibuprofen, Ali Splint, CMS, and an IFAK. Now, importantly, you can see that the docs case is missing, and that's because it depends on what map we're going to go to. So we're going to try and equip this. I don't necessarily have all of the parts for it, so the Splav Tarzan, if you go into traders, and we can then barter for this, we'll grab the hunting matches and go back. I'll equip this again and buy the parts. Go traders, then it does show you how to purchase this and purchase one of those. Now we've got everything we need. So equip this. Yeah, so as I said, we don't have the docs case in here. So if I do want to go to customs, what I do is before this, I've already set this up properly. So I'm going to move that over here. Say we want to use the AK-101. Well, I've already got, I mean, I know we messed up this mag a second ago, but I've already got the magazines that I want to use. Then all I need to do is build the gun using the weapons presets. The weapons don't really work very well in the regular presets because it tries to buy all the parts for them. So I advise using the weapon presets as a separate thing. Bring that over here, pick a piece of armor and a helmet, which you can now do literally just using this, and then you're good to go. You're honestly ready and good to go. So I've got an AK-101 there. That's it. We've got one magazine already in here, but say we want to use this one, we stick that in here, and then we just pick a bag, and off we go. You can put a bag in there if you want to, so that it's already preset, so that you don't have to mess about. And then the ammo as well, I just normally take out some of the ammo that I need to use. But you could also load the ammo in as the preset with the magazines if you wanted to, so that's already going to go in here. That's probably a good idea. So for the ammo preset, and you can see how easy it is to mess around with this stuff. We just equip this one. So this is back to our ammo preset. We're going to go and unload the ammo here. We can actually keep this in our secure container and go top up, 20 like this, 10 like that, top these back up, and we can actually now save this as the same kit, overwrite it. So now when we want to go back to our kit, we get rid of the bank robber, we get rid of the 2 stacks of ammo, we go back into here, we go to our default start, we equip this, then we take our mags back, we re-equip the AK-101, this goes back in here, we go and find our docs case and pop that in there, pick a piece of armor, pick a helmet, and yeah, you still have to fiddle around, right? But it's because we do genuinely have to figure out what we want to take, and we're taking different things into each raid. But that was a lot faster. It really is so much quicker. So you basically got a couple of different actions you want to do. You sort out your docs case first for where you're going, move that to the side. You sort out the magazines for where you want to go and move those to the side along with the ammunition. Then you stick on your basic default kit, you pick your armor, your helmet, your weapon, and your bag, and then you put the magazines back in, and you put the docs case in the little slot that you've left over, and that allows you to build a kit extremely quickly. If you have a kit that you can buy every single time from the flea market or from the traders, then and it works for every single map, then yes, maybe you can use the loadout presets. But I've just so far not seen people using it because it's just too difficult. People don't have the access. You can only buy certain armors like this one, the Redoute M, for example. Once you get to Ragman 3, you can only buy one of these at a time. So once you're done with this, then it's useless. And what if you want to then go to Shoreline? You then have to make a kit, an equipment kit, with the right documents case in it for every single one. So you have to make the Shoreline docs case with the Redoute, the Customs docs case with the Redoute, the Reserve docs case with the Redoute. What we need to do is we need to be making these loadouts modular so that you can then fit different pieces in and out depending on what you want. And it allows you then to use one docs case and not be messing about all the time. That's the way we should be using loadout presets, and that's how I think it should be done. Right, the next one is a little bit of a UI thing. I know that it's so hard to get rid of the muscle memory. This screen needs to go. I mean, lots of people have told BSG actually, there's a lot of feedback that I've seen people have given them that this screen needs to go. It's completely redundant now that we have this new UI layout like this. But if you're in the trader screen, rather than backing out and coming back to your inventory every time and then going back out to the menu, back into traders, or even just using the menu up here, this just takes a long time and it's just really annoying to go back and forth between your character and the trading system. Because this trader screen takes you to this one again, which is a pain. What the best thing we should be doing is, once you're in the trader screen, for the first time, press tab. This takes you back to your inventory, and pressing tab again takes you back to your traders. Unless you're going to the flea market, you shouldn't actually ever need to click any of the other buttons. You should just be able to press tab and go back and forth. If you do go to the flea, you can X out and that'll take you back to the traders. If you're in your character and you go to the flea and you X out of that, that'll take you back to your character too. And then you just press tab again and it'll take you back to the traders. We need to get this back into our muscle memory. I'm doing it just as much as anybody else, going back and into character, because we're so used to doing this and going backwards and forwards, picking traders and things. But the fact that this screen is still here doesn't help. But there is a way easier way, which is this tab thing. It'll make your life so much easier. So that's tip number 4. Tip number 5, ways to organize your stash and your junk box using the sorting table. Now, some people do know how this works. I actually ended up just using it not that long ago because I had a bunch of stuff in my stash up here. So let's say that we have a load of horses or whatever that, we've come out of a raid and we want to sort out our stash and it's just become a huge mess. We want to fix it all later. With all of this stuff, we need to get this back into our junk box somehow. So you can move the junk box up here and then drag stuff, but then there's horses up here and it's a real pest. The better way to do this is using the sorting table. Some people know how to do this. This has been around for a little bit. If you use Shift and click, things go straight into the sorting table. So you can put on a filter like barter items only and just go shift click, shift click, shift click, and just move all of these things. And what you can also do is you could shift click your junk box also into here. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's just so much faster doing it this way than if you're trying to mess around and pick which item you want, and then you just put it straight back. Super, super easy. Really good way of organizing your stash between raids, or if you just want to throw stuff into a junk box and get into the next raid. Little sub tip 5.1, I guess, is that if you do want to just kick everything off your character, just pick one of those presets and it'll move everything out without you having to, manually click everything off into inventory. Tip number 6. I've been asked a few times what the most efficient food is, and we were kind of working this out last wipe, and I had some back and forth. I used to use the Devil Dog Mayo, which gives you 100 and is pretty cheap normally, but I've actually changed over now to using sugar and water. What I'm doing is I drink water down to 1 out of 60, and then we go into the hideout and we craft the waters. I'm not sure if I'm doing that right now. Yes, I am. You craft the waters into whiskies. The prices of all of these things is relatively cheap right now. You just need a water filter to get the process started, but you get this back every time. These bottles of Tarkov vodka are only about 17k. It's really not that much. Alyonkas are really cheap right now because sugars aren't very expensive, so that's 13, and these typically about 20,000 rubles, something like that. And then the 3 whiskies that you produce, you can sell them for something between 30 to 40k. Because you're going to have to drink the water anyway, the water is kind of practically free for the purposes of doing this craft, and then you get to sell this for a profit. So you kind of just ate and drank for free, and then you get to craft them into something useful. The sugars, on the other hand, kind of have 2 uses. So right now, the condensed milk barter actually does work and makes sense. Sugars aren't that expensive, they're only 23,000 rubles, and milks are about 17k. So together that comes to about 40. If you make 3 cans of condensed milk, if you sell them to therapists, it comes to about 47,000 rubles. So you're making 7k for doing that. So again, you're kind of eating for free. So even though this removes hydration when you drink it, you get your energy from this. You then drink the water to make up for the lack of hydration and the fact that you were in a raid. And then you craft both of these into items. Now the sugar will get expensive, but what you're going to do with that is that eventually, once you get the water collector upgraded and you get the moonshine station, you eat the sugars down to 1 usage, and then you combine them with the water from the water collector and you turn them into moonshine. And that means that you're then effectively eating for free and upgrading water into moonshine without having to pay the flea market price for the sugar, which is extremely useful and very, very efficient. That's the way that I like to do it anyway. There may be other better methods for it, but that's the one that I like to do. So I hope that you enjoyed these tips, especially the ones about presets. I haven't really seen anybody else using them in this particular way, and I think this will really, really help. So as always, a big shout out to all my patrons, and have fun in your raids.